Okay, what I've decided to do is to make a series of videos. This is obviously the first one based on the blog that I've been doing. I'm going to go through the process of showing you how to do it real time so you can understand it, because sometimes when you read something or you look at pictures and try to gather how to do it in the application, it goes wrong. So actually seeing somebody doing it may help you and you can understand the process a little bit better. So here we have a document. I'm just going to show you from scratch. So I'm going to get rid of this document, go to new. I made it 500 by 500 and resolution of 300. I've kept a high resolution because I want to tell you that printing gets better quality at a higher resolution, so I'm going to keep it at 300. I'm going to call it sticker because that's what we're making. Press OK. Now we have our document window. What we're going to do is build our sticker inside that document window. First thing we need to do is to get rid of all the background information, because we don't want to keep looking at this while we're working. And if you're a PC user, you might find this a little bit more familiar. Pressing F, or go to this option here, third one down, full screen mode in menu bar, and you have this. It's basically the same look as in a PC. If you move over here, we have a layer palette. And we're going to eventually build up our sticker on this layer palette. I'll eventually get rid of this because I'll show you how to make a better kind of background, because this one's locked. Okay, nothing you can do about it, it's locked. Okay, so we need to have a background there but not locked. Anyway, we're going to start. First thing we need to do is create a new top layer. And the way we do this is we go Apple Shift N, and it basically brings up this little palette, gives you several options. I'm not going to do anything other than call it sticker. That's what we're making. Alright, so I'm just going to press OK. There we have it in our layer palette sticker. You can't see anything because it's in transparent at the moment. So now what we're going to do is build up our object the way we want it. If we go here, you'll notice this is our masking tool or vector tool. And it creates certain objects. On your option palette you'll notice it's all here. What we need to do is select this one here at the end. It's called your custom shape tool. You can either get it there, or if I hold down here it's at the bottom of this. You can also press U. Okay. Now I'm going to select a custom tool. For the one on the blog I've used a 5-point star, which is down towards the bottom. Just double click on it and it appears in this shape here. Well, what now we're going to do now is to create the shape. If you start dragging, you'll notice you get this effect. It basically allows you to have a more morphic aspect to drawing. You may want to keep it the full constrained version, which is an exact symmetrical 5-point star. The way you do this is you hold down your shift key. I'm going to pull it and drag it so it's roughly the size of that, and just basically move it around a little bit so it's more centered. Okay. Anyway, what we can do now is to recolor it, because we don't want a black one. Most stickers are white or another colour. You can actually colour your sticker any colour you want to. I'm just going to keep it white, like in the tutorial on the blog. So what we need to do is on your layer palette here, you'll notice this. I'm just going to double click it and just move the cursor up to where it's white. You notice it instantly turns white. Okay, but we don't want to keep this as a vector or masked layer. We need to actually make it into a Rasterize layer. And several ways of doing this. I'm going to show you all of them. First one is if you just go here on your right mouse click, you'll notice it says Rasterize Layer. Second option is here. It says that's the one way to do it, which is the quickest way. The other way to do it is you have to make another layer below your original layer. And the way you do this is you just press Control Alt and then click on your new layer option in your layer palette. As soon as you press OK on this, I'm going to call it sticker again. Press OK, you'll notice instead of it appearing above, it will appear below. Ooh, magic. Okay, so there's two options of getting it above and below the actual chosen layer. Now, what you can do is you go here, you can go to merge down, which is Control E, which is the other option I'm going to show you. So you can press Apple E and it squashes everything down to the next layer. It didn't convert it, unfortunately. I don't know why it's not converted it, because I didn't choose the right layer. You have to choose the layer you want to convert and press Control E and it's converted it. If I just get rid of that, you'll notice it's now a rasterized object, not a vector object. Right, can't see anything because it's against a white background. At this point I'm going to show you how to make the background. Just going to delete that one so we've got our basic star. Okay, but we want to have it against a white background so we can see what's happening with the shadows and the borders and everything. So what we do again is to make a new background layer by pressing Alt, Command and the new layer option, like so. I'm just going to call it background, like so, and press OK. Also going to get rid of my dock at the moment because I don't want to have it there. So let's get it out of the way. And you notice we've got a transparent background there now. What we want to do is add colour. You may be using Photoshop before you do this kind of tutorials and you'll notice all your colours are like this, odd, not the default colours. If you want to colour the background, one of the default colours. So the way you get your default back is look at the first initial of the word default and press it on the keyboard, D. You notice these have now changed back to black and white. If you want to then colour your background layer, the default background colour, which is white, which is what we want, you just simply press the Control or Command key and then the backspace, which is delete, and it automatically colours it for you. Now, if you look over on our layer menu, we have a background there that's not locked. You can lock it, but basically there, you can lock it, but we can unlock it, which is an advantage because obviously you can get rid of it, delete it, or whatever. Okay, now what we're going to do is go back to our sticker and add a stroke, let's say. I was messing around before for the blog image and I figured out for this size and resolution 14 or 15 is a good size to have for the stroke. And you'll see I've chosen black as a colour, but you can choose whatever colour you want. Okay, it'll work just the same. And I've also chosen centre as the location. So once we've done all that and selected it and pressed OK, and you'll notice we have a border on our star. If I get rid of the background just to show you, it's to the edge. Most stickers though, when they print them, is they have a little white rim around the points or around the object. It's like a bordering effect. What we have to do is, because we have to manipulate this, we have to make it in a different fashion, okay? Not the fashion that we've done before, which is to just give it a stroke, which is solid now. We want to be able to re-manipulate it just in case we make mistakes and everything. We're just assuming this is our final design that we want to use. Any effects we apply to it, we may want to change. Okay, so for instance, this could be a logo that somebody's given us. Anyway, to affect a stroke in a different way, other than making it solid and attached to the object, is you just double click to the right of your where it says sticker in your layer palette, and it brings this option up, and this is called your layer style palette. I'm going to leave it open so I can see the star to the left. Okay, this is on your default setting, which is the blending options. We don't want that, we want a stroke, so we're going to click on that. As soon as I click on it, it will tick it, which means it will apply the stroke. But you notice it's red. Whilst it's red, I'm going to just show you how to make the size the way you want to. Okay, say for instance we like that kind of size. Okay. Once we're happy with it, we just need to change the colour. We need a white background, and this is where it becomes a problem because you can't see it now. But if you need to clarify this fact and you're thinking, well, it's not there, you just look over here on your preview and you notice it has got the border on it. Okay, like so. Alright, so we're happy with the stroke. We're going to move on to the next effect, which was going to give a kind of a little slight shadow around the stroke to make it look like it's a 3D sticker stuck on something. The way we do this is just go to outer glow, click there. Again, we can't see anything because we're using lots of the different blending modes which are incorrect. So we're going to move this to normal, which again doesn't show anything. I'm going to choose this as black because we just need to have a gradient that's similar. But if you're going to put it against another colour, you may want to add a kind of a blending of the colour that's sitting on the background, because obviously black to white as the obvious shadowing effect, but if you're on blue you may want to have a dark blue as a shadowing effect. Anyway, we're choosing black because that's what we're using in the tutorials. You still see, you can't see the actual shadow on the stars because under elements the spread is quite low. So what we have to do is start manipulating the spread a little bit until it starts appearing. Now you see it, yeah, but that's a bit too extreme. Yeah, so we're just going to drop it down a little bit until we get something that just kind of shows a shadowing effect around the object. The more you pull this one across, the stronger it gets. Okay, but I think after 29 it's just going to disappear completely. You could tweak it a little bit more. Yeah, so that's it. You can see there's a little rim around your star now. So we're happy with that. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a drop shadow, so when this page corner has actually been folded, it's going to give the impression it's 3D. And it's going to have a shadow, obviously, because the light's going to hit one edge and it's going to create a shadow around this area. We're just going to create a drop shadow on it as well. To make sure we actually then add certain variables, which is the angle of 90, and just add a little bit more of a spread and a bit of depth to it. And you'll see that the shadows are basically appearing. It becomes stronger when we actually start doing the 3D effect. Let's say. So once we've set all these variables up and everything's happy on there, we're just going to press OK. And you notice they've appeared now in the layer menu. What you can do is, if you ever want to change them because it doesn't look particularly correct at this point, you can just double click on it again and the palette comes up again. Okay, so they're there, but they're changeable. Now we've got to create the mask to create the, we've got to create the bend effect on this corner. What we have to do first is to make it so it's transformable, and the way we do this is just press Apple T and you get the transform tool. Okay, you'll notice it actually aligns itself exactly to the star and not the border, because the border is a virtual effect at the moment, it's not actually been rasterized. And what we need to do now, before we start messing around with any of these little corner options, is to make it so you can use the warp effect. The warp is basically, you see it here, free transform, that's what you select. You can choose warp from here if you want to. As I said, I want you to get used to keyboards and mouse controls. So the way you get the warp up is if you just right click on your object, so you see it's warp. What it does is it builds this grid onto your object. What we've said before is we want to make it so this corner is folded up. The way we do that is we just click on this corner and pull it so the object goes inwards. Maybe pull it this way slightly. It just makes it so it looks like it's shorter than this. It still doesn't look like it's folded up because we haven't manipulated the other elements yet. But this is the key aspect to it, is you have to basically pull it so it's shorter, and that will give the effect that it looks like it's riding up. You could possibly make other adjustments, like pull this down a little bit further as well, so this part squashes, which would be more natural. Okay, so once you're happy with the fold, to basically put it into effect, you just press the enter and it locks it and makes it an actual effect onto your object. So now we've got this, we just need to create what's known as a masking layer, so we can add an highlight where the light will affect it, because what we're going to do is have the light coming down at this angle, and so the shadow will be in this bottom corner here, and so when the light hits here there'll be a reflective surface, because obviously it's going to be shiny plastic just across here. Okay, so we've got our objects layer. What we need to do is to create a new layer, which is going to be a masking layer. We want to make the layer above, so if you remember, we just press Control, Shift and N, and it comes up like this, and I'm just going to call it mask layer, like so, and press OK. As you notice, even though it says it's a mask layer, it's not associated with the layer below it, and we have to make the mask basically the same shape as the object. Okay. So what we have to do is to press Control, Alt and G, and that basically links the layer. You notice a little arrow connecting it down to this, and that means it's a mask. So it's taken the shape of the object and created a marquee effect around it, so anything you apply inside will appear, anything outside won't appear. Okay. While we're here, we just need to change this so the option sets sets itself to screen, this basically means that anything that's black is going to end up invisible. Okay, because we don't want black, we just need to see the thing and just have the white band across it. And all I'm going to do is make this go down to 50%, so because you don't want a harsh white highlight. Okay, the next thing we need to do is go to our gradient tool, which is that one. We can press G. I've already set mine up, okay, but I'll go through it again. Just click on it once and you'll get this gradient editor appear. This is your first default preset. Just click on it. What you need to do is just move these points to 50% so they're in the middle. As you notice, I'm just typing it in there and it just makes it quicker and more exact. Now if I select this colour and then click back here, you notice it turns it black. And same here, if I click on this one, click on the far right, it clicks the same again. So what we're doing is basically making it so this area will be the highlights and this is the tone that it grades into. Okay, so once you've set that, you can press OK. And all we need to do now is very slightly, you may want to adjust this because you have to test it, but from say this point here to this point here, you just drag your cursor and let go and you notice highlights appear. Maybe it's a little bit too extreme, so I'm going to press Apple Z to get rid of it and I'm going to make the line shorter. Yeah, and you just keep doing this until you get it in roughly the place that you want it, make it the right kind of shape for the fold. Okay. And there we are, we're roughly getting there to the point that you can see it's got a kind of a folded effect, but still doesn't look correct because we need to do something about the shadow. The shadow needs to pull down because it'll be on a flat surface. Okay, so what we have to do now is I'm just going to fold this up. This is like a little clever option now because basically you want to adjust the shadow effect but not the other effects. So what you've got to do is render all these out as separate layers. Obviously there's lots of things you can do with it. You can add extra styling inside, make it look like it's got a bumper sticker effect or whatever. But at the end of the day, it looks like it's got a corner curled up. And obviously you can affect it to any corner or whatever shape you're using. Okay, but that's how you basically make it. Okay.